Might as well.
Your sling's on upside down. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's right side up.
Stop screwing with me. Stop screwing.
From the bill drill.
What's that?
The bloopers from the bill drill.
Yeah.
Come on.
We were talking, we had some comments about basically gun up versus gun down, and really it depends on your situation is the short answer. So if you want to take nothing else from this video whatsoever, that it really depends on your situation. So like if you're in a boat, right, then gun down, it's a bad idea because, you know, shoot holes in the boat. If you're in a helicopter, right, gun up's a bad idea because all the crap that's holding you in the air is above you, right? So we want to mitigate the risk by not pointing the muzzle at the important thing, right? So if like you're a cop and you walk into an apartment complex that's got like 15 floors above you, yeah, gun up's probably not a good idea, right? But you also have to know that there's floors below you too if you're halfway through the complex. So like you have to make it an informed decision on like the most risky situation. Out here, I ask, and we have some guests out here today, you guys, what do you guys do when you're on the range at your department?
Gun down.
Gun down, okay. And that's okay. But I'm gonna ask you that while you're here today to try to do gun up.
Okay.
Just for safety, because this is a dynamic environment, and we're gonna have a lot of guns out today, passing them around between a whole bunch of people, and we're gonna be moving around all over the range and stuff like that. And when you're in that environment and you have no other concerns, then gun up is the safest. And here's the reason why. So if we go gun down with the rifle, usually when we take off, when we're just walking like this, you can see that there's some horizontal component to the muzzle. So if I were to shoot this gun right now inadvertently, a little bit more angle, we can see we get a bounce, basically. So what ends up happening is when we start moving faster and faster, the gun goes from this to get out of our way. We end up going like this more and more, the faster and faster we run. And this is actually natural because we don't want to point the gun at our feet, right? So the longer your stride, the more you're going to point the gun at your feet if you don't protract the gun out. If you take a pistol, you do your Soul thing. When you start running, if you're really cognizant of it, you'll notice that gun starts pointing at your legs. Right? So the biggest concern for us on the range is our own legs and then the other people. So we don't want to get a bounce. If I'm facing you like this, you would not say that I'm pointing this rifle at you, for instance. Right? But there is still some horizontal component to the velocity of that bullet, and it might, for instance, kick up. Is this me? Turn your phone off. Sorry. There is some horizontal component to the velocity, and the bullet could skip and hit someone, or you'll notice that we're covered in aggregate right now. That could kick a rock up and hit you, and it's going to have appreciable velocity too. So as far as that is concerned, if we're out here, this is the most safe condition because there ain't nothing up there. And when it comes back down, is it more likely for the thing to hurt someone if it hits the ground first and bounces, or is it more likely to hit a cow? Yeah, very, very slim chance that it's going to hurt anything if it goes up and then comes back down. And then you have terminal velocity concerns and things like that too, where the round is going to have its full velocity. So we use gun up here whenever possible for those concerns. We also have camera, right, that may be moving around. And if I want to point this way and then change directions and shoot a target over there, it's a lot easier for me to just carve him out that way instead of having to do all of this crap. I've never been in a tactical team, but a lot of the people that trained me have been, and usually 2 or 3 back in the stack, you'll see those guys go to gun up. Maybe the first couple guys will be in the stack like this, and then the guys behind them are in back because that allows them to clear their buddy's gear as they enter the room.
It's more natural for those blows.
Yeah, the gun just comes down. Now, again, I've never done that except for in training, right? So I can't speak to that. But the bottom line is use your discretion today. I know that you're going to be training scarred, or that may not even be the right term. Your muscle memory is going to point you towards gun down. Just try to get it up in the air. That way, if you have to spin 180 degrees, that gun doesn't come across and flag a whole bunch of people.
So my buddy at work always says, whatever, or like, what comes up must come down. I understand that, but what goes down can also come back up and hit you too. So it's just, I think, in a law enforcement environment, it's just going to be whatever you have to constantly adapt. There is no right or wrong.
You will absolutely, no matter what your capacity is, you'll have to adapt. Whether it's on the range, whether it's in a house, whether it's in a mall, there are different concerns for different things. And I think that you've got it right there. And really what it comes down to is the bullet. You always hear about ricochet is the term. I don't really like that term because it has certain connotations that are not really manifested in physical reality. If a bullet hits something hard, it's going to deform and break. But if it has a space for a different redirection of the vector, then it will go. Right now, we're on relatively squishy ground. You saw that it took me 2 shots to get that round to bounce over there.
Oh yeah.
Normally, if it was like a hot summer day, first one at that angle that I shot, which was just like this, would have been enough to send it into the berm over there. If you're on a concrete surface, that's even worse. If you're in the middle of a mall, that angle of bounce is much lower than it is on a nasty flat ground like this. The other thing I will say is, I know me personally, because the gun is up and out of my way, I run faster. With it up, okay? Like if I've got it bouncing and hit me in the knees and ankles and nuts and stuff, then I will run slower with the gun like this than if I can just put it up like this and haul ass, right? Because it's just, I don't know, it's more natural for me. Your mileage may vary, but the last point that I would say is, like, having been to lots and lots of training courses, when the gun goes down like this, usually it starts to recede to this, and then this, and then we get what I call sloppy retention, which is like, now it starts doing all this crap, you see, where like we start to get lazy with the gun. Maybe our sling needed to be actually tightened up more, right? But for whatever reason, as we fatigue, we become more and more complacent with where the gun is pointed. No matter how well trained or whatever, you know, I've seen the whole spectrum of people. Basically, the gun just becomes like, they might have it like here, but for the most part, it becomes just something that they have to wear around. Whereas if you've got it up like this is the point. Like this might be the high ready, but this is the rest, right? It goes to the point where basically all the weight is distributed on the wrist into the forearm, and like this being the rest position, there's nobody in danger right now. I'm not flagging anybody or anybody like that or anything like that, because the more anatomical restful position is straighter up than anything else. So like you said, situation specific. And I mean, obviously in your guys' situation, you have SOPs that are going to dictate that sort of stuff as well. But at the same time, regulation versus reality, you know, regulations are written for the lowest common denominator, right? We're intellectual beings, you know, we're capable of using our critical thinking skills. So gun up versus gun down is a absolute situational specific, instantaneous decision that needs to be made.